Hey there, feelers and deep thinkers. Welcome back to the Empath Experience. I'm your host, Cheyenne, here to celebrate and navigate with you the beautiful mess of being human. So welcome back, y'all. I know it's been a while. As you can see, we're in a whole new environment. Let's just take a look at this intro and just how everything looks right now. And also, we have a whole new host. So let me just go ahead and let him introduce himself already. He's smiling. You happy to be here?
Very happy to be here. Ecstatic, baby. You feel me? My name is Brother Key. You know, I have many names, but that's the name that a lot of people know me as. And it's an acronym. Key stands for Keep Elevating Yourself. I literally exist.
Ooh, run that back.
Yeah. So
that is smooth.
Yeah. Key is an acronym. It stands for Keep Elevating Yourself. And it was more so like just like a piece of myself that I wanted to make sure is selfless. Like it belongs to the world. You dig what I'm saying? Like everything I do, how I move, no matter if it's good, bad, up or down, it's an example in showing like, you know, God don't make no mistakes. So keep elevating yourself, keep rising, no matter
like
how low you feel.
Right?
Yeah, for sure. Literally, the gold standard, baby.
All right, Brother Key. So tell us where you're from, your Instagram, where the audience basically can follow you, tune in, and see how they can elevate themselves.
So Brother Key's workshop across all platforms, BROTHERKEYS, workshop WORKSHOP. No underscores, none of that. You can find me on Instagram, YouTube, and if you like to click Reading is Fundamental, just look at my bio. You'll find all of my other links as well. But Brother Key's workshop is really the staple. And if for my other name, if you Keyshawn Forsyth, KISHON, Forsyth. Figure it out. You find me. I ain't hiding.
The synopsis
is there. I ain't hiding. You feel me? So yeah, that's.
And you guys know where to find me at _live love shy. I do have an underscore. And tune into our TikTok, our Spotify, and also our Instagram page at __ the Empath Experience with 2 E's. So where do I know you from, Brother Key? Tell the people how we met.
You know me from a friend of a friend, or a friend of
a friend
family,
of a sister,
of
sister of a
friend. Family of a friend. You know me from somebody,
right?
Know?
So I do know Brother Key for one of my sisters. Shout out to you. Hey, Kira. And yeah, he's always been amazing, great influence in the group, you know, because the different age, but he's always dropping gems. So yeah. So here on the Empath Experience, what we do is something called a check-in. So it starts off with a thumbs up. Thumbs up means, okay, I'm great. In the middle, and then a thumbs down, like, I'm just not feeling it. I'm just here for you, Shaw. You know, whatever you feel. And then after that, you can let the community know, like, how can we support you? Like, how can we fix that by the end of this interview?
Okay. So right
thumbs
now,
up?
So I'm like right here. So
Are you both or are you just one?
Yeah, I'm both. So I'm like, there's a part of me that's always like great. You know what I'm saying? That's rooted in God, really. That's always good. And right now I'm navigating through the season of loss and acceptance of that loss. Like I recently lost my mentor, my brother.
Oh, I'm so sorry for your loss.
And also like a few other things, like an apartment, some goals, like just a bunch of things that I had. And I was a little upset about it. I was a little raw about it. But when I looked at the side of life where I could still operate and get done what I have to get done, I'm like, oh, I didn't really lose anything. It's just, I just have to pivot.
Right.
You know, support is always good though. You feel me? I'm a brother. So living in America, making sure that I'm doing what I can for not only myself, my family, and my community. So support is always welcome because last time I checked, inside of our body, we have a symphony, you know? Like the lungs can't operate without the heart, and the heart can't operate without the brain. So I'm always up for support from my fellow people, and I'm always up to support my fellow people as well.
So do you feel like because you are trying to achieve a lot right now, you're like in the middle most of the time? You did say you're always here.
Yeah.
So like how can we turn this to another up there? A thumbs up.
I think as someone who is always improving, and it's like, I don't think I'll ever arrive at the place where I want to be, because as I improve, the marker or my greatest self also moves forward as well, you know. And there's like an ancient scripture in one of these old books that I've come across and from one of my teachers that says, in this life, like we pass away grasping the glory of what God is, really. So like you'll always be trying to figure out how to better improve yourself. Like even if I get a nice car, I'm gonna see a newer one next year. Even if I get a nice house, I'm gonna see something else. Like in some ways, like you can say, all right, I'm grateful for this, and I'll stay stationary within my relationship or whatever it is, but you'll always want to improve. So I mean, I'm kind of okay. It's not really too bad. It's not like a sorrow thing.
It's not.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm not.
Most of the time, I'm like here. Actually, I am here, and I keep myself here because some reasons when I get up here, I'm like over ecstatic.
That's good though. That's good.
It's a good thing, but like you said, like we're working on goals and we're working on things. Sometimes it's good to be level-headed. Have you ever met someone who's like when they're overly enthusiastic, like they're not really getting anything done?
Yeah, I know. I've been there before.
You know, I'm like a goofy person, so like when I'm overly enthusiastic, I feel like I'm jokey. I'm not serious, you know.
Bliss.
So sometimes right here just might be enough for me. But yeah, the goal is to always be great. So that's definitely a good goal. All right, so I guess the way that we can support you as a community is to always make sure you feel great. Which I feel like you got that in the bag already. So also another thing that we do here is an icebreaker question. Have you ever did an icebreaker before?
That's fine. That's fine. I'm cool with that. I love
No, we recorded.
That's what I'm saying. It's cool. Like, I'm cool with the icebreaker.
You're too smooth, right?
It's fine.
All right. Okay, so if animals could talk, which one would be the rudest and why?
That is so funny. It would probably be.
I'm gonna give you my
It'd probably be owls. because they're wise, so they damn near know everything, and like, or owl. Or I was about to say cat.
I think cats.
I was about to say a cat, but it's like it depends on the cat. You feel me? Like it depends, because if like I'm into like old movies and Jungle Book. Mowgli.
Classic. If you've never seen Jungle Book, you need to watch that.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of versions. Mowgli's teacher was a jaguar. So, you know what I'm saying? And the other feline was a tiger that was super rude. You dig what I'm saying? But also, like, some people, like, what I notice is, like, if your wisdom and your knowledge is not managed correctly, you'll come off really snobby, like you know everything. When, in fact, going back to my first point, like, when you die grasping life. You don't really know jack squat. Because if you do, create water. If you know everything, create water. You feel me? Then I won't judge you ever again. Create oxygen for me. You dig what I'm saying? Like, if you could do that, all right, that means that you do know everything. If not, then keep it humble. You've had me.
It's like we did our best. You did your best of what you could have handled, or you mastered the life while you was here. But
I'll go with an owl, though.
If you can't make water, I don't think so.
Yeah, you don't know. So I'll go with an owl. Kind of snobby, like owl. And also, I'm thinking of like Winnie the Pooh with the owl and stuff, and how it was like always sizable.
Winnie was an owl?
No, when he was a bear.
A bear.
But you remember the owl? They used to always be schooling him. They used to read mad books.
Yes. And you know what owl I also think about? The Tootsie Pop owl. Like, even though he was funny, he was smart, though. Think about the riddle.
That's what I'm saying.
I thought about that riddle for a while. Because if you really lick the Tootsie Pop multiple times...
Mad licks.
Bruh, your tongue is going to hurt.
Mad licks.
No matter if I lick that much. No. But,
Wait, it's wrong for man to lick? Not lollipop.
Not lollipop, but...
Nah,
yeah.
It depends. Yeah. It depends on man for lick.
Right. Your preference is your preference.
Yeah,
I believe the animal that I would choose is a hippo. I'm in between a hippo and a kangaroo.
Hippo's a bully. Now, yo, it's funny.
Are they bullies?
Yes, hippos are the most.
Are they bullies?
Hippos
I
are
think
the
they're
most
body shamed.
They're the most. First off, they're the most dangerous animals.
Yeah, they are vicious. They're pretty vicious.
Mammals, excuse me.
But that makes them misunderstood.
Like they catch the most bodies. Like there's like legends of hippos.
Actually, elephants catch the most bodies.
No, it's hippos.
For real?
Yes, in Africa, they eat people.
Oh my God.
You didn't know that?
No, I knew that they hurt people, but I generally feel like when you talk to a hippo, they might just be misunderstood.
Nah, they eat people. Like hippos.
Oh my God.
Hippos are
They the villains?
Hippos are not to be played with. Like if a hippo and a crocodile or any other animal, like a hippo's like snapping, like their jaw strength is crazy. Mm-hmm. Like, and they're also spoken about again. Like, not trying to get too Bible on y'all, but like they're also spoken about in the Bible. Like.
Actually, that I didn't know. But as far as choosing the hippo, I believe I chose the hippo because, one, I feel like they're misunderstood. And I generally want to know what's going on in their mind. Like, are you attacking these humans because they're attacking you? Because I feel like when you think of hippo, you think of Madagascar. Like...
Oh, the girl hippo.
The girl hippo. I feel like everybody see hippos as shiny, like, not sweet, but they think they're sweet. If that makes sense? So they try them. And then they meet them and it's like, no, I eat people.
Literally eat people.
Literally so don't play with me. I feel like it's a judge a book by its cover. And then I think I also probably want to hear a kangaroo talk. And that's because kangaroos really be beating people up.
Nah, kangaroos be beating people
up too.
That's what paint. That's what I'm saying. Like, these two mammals that you chose, like, they're bullies in the animal world.
Think
like,
about their dialogue.
They be squaring up.
Because the kangaroo probably be like, no, I'm not playing with you.
Like, you want to smoke? Like, we could do it.
Like, I get in the paint. I think that was actually one of my funniest icebreakers. I enjoyed that one.
I enjoyed that one.
Moving forward, today I wanted to talk mostly from the brain. You mentioned the brain, the heart, the lungs, everything is all connected.
Yes.
From what I've been learning in 27 years of existence is the brain is extremely important. And I feel like it's extremely important because it can be reprogrammed, it can be damaged, and in some actual cases, people get new ones. So I generally feel like the brain is super important. Have you ever heard of neurodivergence?
I actually looked it up, and it kind of made sense. I mean, it made sense. You know, you want to give like a
I'm about to
definition
give it.
For the people?
There's neurodivergent, and then there's neurotypical. So I think those are the names for the people that you guys just be saying to stay still. Or you're the people that you be like, why you act like that? Or like, why you act like her? I think that's the technical scientific name that they actually gave. So I'm going to read it. Neurotypical means your brain works in a way that's considered typical by society. Like you tend to think, learn, and process like how everybody else do. So like, I don't know. When I was younger as a Caribbean kid, we used to do like, my mom used to be like, if you have 4 apples and you get 4 more, how many apples you get? I used to be like, 8, but this apple is like a little smaller than the other apple, so is it a whole apple? So like, and by that time, my mom is like, if you got 4 apples.
Plus 4 apples.
Plus 4 more apples, how many apples you got?
You questioned her, which was...
I questioned things before.
That's the difference.
Right. Well, they questioned things.
Yeah.
How you know I was neurodivergent?
You question stuff. You question reality. You never question God. You never question life. That's I
question everything actually.
Everything you're supposed to question everything. It's about doing it with humility and not arrogance. You know what I'm saying? That's the dividing factor right there. That's the line, the hairline. You can question stuff. You're supposed to. That's how you learn. You know, if you just accept anything. Even if you have a gut feeling saying, is there more? You want to ask, is there more? There just might be. And because you ask, now you're introduced to it. And I grew up as a young individual that questioned life from since I was a kid. Like,
it's that curiosity.
Yeah.
You want to know why things work. It also is transparency. Okay? Going into the definition of neurodivergent, which I think I gave a pretty good example, is, you know, your brain just works different. So you might not think or learn the way that society wants you to, but you get to the answer. So I remember, like, what year did you graduate high school?
I got my GED because I was tired with it. I think like in 2000. I'm trying to remember. I was supposed to.
Yeah, it was that.
Yes. What's it called? Trying to remember. Nah, because like school for me was like very smushed together. Like I've been to 15 different schools before even 12th
You
grade.
just said you move around a lot.
I've moved around a lot.
Right.
So like I remember at the age of 20, I'm 32 now, so 12 years ago. So 2013, 2012, 2013, around there.
Wow, I was in 9th grade.
So I was sitting there. I was like, hold on. I remember sitting in the school and I looked around at my classmates and nobody was paying attention. They was like just bouncing off the walls. And I'm sitting here like, yo, I actually want to learn, but the teacher checked out. The students don't care. I'm going to just get my GED,
Get up out
quit the joke, and that's going to at least open the gate for me to go to college when I want to go to college. And school was very interesting for me. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it was around like 2012 or 13, around there, because I got into high school at like in 2007. I have an early birthday. So around 2007, I got into high school, and for 4+ years. So I would say maybe like 2012 then, around there. I'm not sure. We're going to have to fact check that one.
We're going to say from 7 to 12.
Say that, because whatever.
Those were your years.
Those were the years.
Why I asked you that was actually because when I was in school, which I believe was from 2011 to 2015, they started this thing where they were forcing group projects. They were forcing group projects, and they were also forcing you, like my teacher will give us the answer for a problem, and then she'll be like, okay, somebody else find a different way to get to this problem. And that was like something that went all across the board. So I feel like for me, that's a perfect example. So you have this equation, but there's multiple ways you can get to that one answer. And from what I'm hearing, you're a little bit more on the divergent side as well. Because
perspective.
Everything is perspective. So with that being said, I feel like a lot of people, or at least people around me, around my age, we tend to do things different than what the other generation or whoever before us did. You know, or even our peers, you know, some people are just content with certain things, like you said. Like, they're not willing to push that ceiling, you know? Like, why should I think outside the box? The answer is right here, you know? And this is why I was saying that neurodivergent versus neurotypical people is something that people should talk about, because it's not only a label, it's not a glossary. It's more of a manual. You know? So I feel like sometimes when I talk to like neurotypical people or people who just feel like, okay, this is what it is. And you'll notice when you meet someone who's like, I wouldn't label them as like a group or anything, but someone who has the typical mindset. That's what we're going to say. We're going to say typical and divergent.
I call those super regular people.
Right. They're
like
normal.
Super regular. Like you're okay with not trying to see your highest self. Like you want to be super regular. Why? Because it's easy. You don't get challenged.
Comfortable.
Super comfortable. Super comfortable. And you just don't you don't see your highest self. But for me, that's like oblivion. That's like death itself.
It's an illusion.
That's like, yo, it's a scary place to be. And in fact, I've actually experienced that at one point or another. And I was very scared, because I'm like, wait, time out. I can see that this cycle that's going on in my brain is consistent, and it won't change if I don't get up and do something about it. And the reason why some people, in their defense, the reason why some of those people do it is because they don't know how to not do it.
Right.
You know? Like,
I agree. I generally feel like this is why they say the first step is to acknowledge. Some people don't even acknowledge it, you know? Some people might not even acknowledge that the way they think are different, you know? They're forcing themselves to move like the status quo. Does that make sense? And we're going to just say typical and divergent. I feel like with typical people, you get a rejecting spirit. You You ever feel like you're talking to someone and like you're like trying to get them to see your perspective, your view? We're not always gonna understand the other person because most of the time they're just opinions. However, it's like you're just rejecting the thought of something new.
Yeah.
And I feel like we get that from like older generations or just like people who've never been in the same circumstances or can't fathom even going through anything like that. Have you ever been in a situation where someone's just like not like receptive to anything that you're trying to like put out or get them to see?
Almost in every area of my life, which is why I believe that I'm one of the most diverse people in the world, because I've had to deal with my kin, my relationships, and even friends just not stepping outside of that normal cycle or that box. And I'm like, wait, how can you not see that? How can you not see this other perspective? Like it's right here, you know?
Like,
But
I see it.
yeah, but that also, it goes with your relationship with the Most High, with like the world around you, with the universe, and with like Mother Earth. Like, you have to have something outside of yourself connected to you, because if not, you won't have that voice. You won't have that higher consciousness letting you know, like, I think, not even I think, but take this left. Why? Take this left, you might find something. You might not get the complete answer, but when you start moving in that direction, as you start to, that fork road starts to drift, or like starts to separate more and more, you get to see the other perspective. Mm-hmm. It's not like you'll be completely blind, but you'll, if you're graced enough, because sometimes that's really how God gives us that light, mm-hmm. You'll be able to see like, oh snap, I would have been over there, but I'm over here now. Okay, wow. And you'll be able to see that perspective, and that's where wisdom comes in. Because knowledge is just knowing something, but wisdom is having like a real good understanding
No, I definitely
and
get
a
that.
comprehension of it versus just knowing the information, like knowing of something, like, you know. So like something everybody loves, money. Everybody knows money, but not everybody knows how it's a tool and how it's really a conversation that you have with the universe and yourself, really, and how to bring it out and how to bring out that value. Like,
it's an energy.
Exactly. It's
an energy.
And some people just think it's a piece of paper that you work for, but in fact, it's an expression of what you have. And here's a real good analogy on that. If there's this guy gave his daughter a car, right? Mm-hmm. Daughter wants to sell the car, brought it to one shop. They offered to give her $500 for it. Told her pops. Pops was like, nah, go to somewhere else. Took the car to another shop. They offered her $2,000 for it. He was like, that's not enough. Took the car to a collector's
2,000?
item. Yeah, 2,000, right? 2,000, from 500 to 2,000. Took the car to a collector's item shop. They said this is a rare vehicle and offered her more than 100 times than what the second person offered. So what does that mean? Where your value is, where you present your value, depending on where you go, you'll get a different price. You'll get different acknowledgement. You will get different goal for your role. You dig what I'm saying?
I definitely. Okay. So you know how sometimes, like, okay, you see how she went to that it's like when they said the right package at the wrong address. So I go around sometimes and I tell myself, look, I'm a money magnet.
Okay.
You know, I feel like a lot of people are scared to go.
We gotta stay close to you, baby. We love that.
Come on, you gotta run. I feel like a lot of people are scared to hit rock bottom. I don't feel like I'm scared to hit rock bottom. I think I've never actually. I think I enjoy rock bottom, and it's like when you explain that to someone, it's like, why would you ever want to do that to yourself? It's something so beautiful about like not having any options and building yourself up. Like, I feel like that's when I feel like I'm mostly in my power. So sometimes I feel like typical people, they're not stuck in their ways. I feel like they're stuck in a system.
Fear. What you just
Bingo.
What you just described was you not being afraid of failure and losing everything because you still have you. which is what I was saying.
And I am value. I am of value.
Exactly. You're connected to something way bigger than you. So even if this flesh or this life tries to convince you that you don't have anything, you know that you still got you, so you can make something out of nothing.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you just made. That's really what it is. And some people only see value in themselves when they have material.
Mm-hmm.
But you know that this material is just added onto you, right? Here's a good scripture: seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and everything will be added unto you. You know that everything is going to be added unto you regardless of where you're at, so you're willing to work with what you have.
Because you're honestly paving that moment for yourself.
Basically.
With your attributes. Do you feel like you run into people you have a hard time with communicating? That's more on the typical side, you know? I know you mentioned a couple Bible verses, so I believe you're a Christian, right?
I'm just a man that knows a couple of God's mindset laws.
You're just a man that agree with God.
Really.
Some of the things he said, I'm not gonna lie, there's some things I don't understand, and I can also say there's some things that, okay, it resonates.
It takes time to like decrypt or like decode like what God is telling you, and you may not be in that season. That's why you don't get it yet. You feel me? You can't talk to a baby about running if it just started walking.
Mm-hmm.
You dig? So, well, what was the question again?
Okay, so do you have
a tough time talking to people, right?
I feel like I don't. Well, right now, the season I am right now,
yeah,
I don't want to tolerate with people. I don't want to surround myself with people who tolerate me.
That's
another form of energy as well.
Yeah, I don't think that's healthy, because what happens is you have to present yourself in a form that is not free, because you're now putting yourself in a box for that person. Because, like you said, the word tolerate, the word tolerate means that, like, has to do with temperament. So if you say something that may not be comfortable to somebody, you have to hold yourself back so that they can tolerate your attitude or your person or your being or your value.
Your energy.
And that's not healthy, because that means that you don't really have freedom to be yourself. You can't really be what you're supposed to be, express yourself in all different colors and facets, because nobody is one thing. We're a collection of great, magnificent things. So if you're somebody that puts themselves around people who can only tolerate one of the shades or one of the colors within you, but you're a freaking rainbow, you dig what I'm saying? That's gonna be a problem, because you're not really gonna be able to express it. You're not gonna be able to express all of yourself, and it's gonna be frustrating to you because you know you have more to offer.
So yeah, like I feel like also when people tolerate you, they're also tolerating an energy that they can't understand, if that makes sense. For me, I feel like the difference between divergent and typical is really just understanding. Like understanding how this person is able to get to a certain point rather than the other person. So I know you've been in a terrible accident, and I take pride in speaking highly of you, because I feel like you're very intelligent, and you also a good influence on me as well. So like, how did you deal with that typical response that society wanted you to heal? Like how they wanted you to heal? I feel like most people, they might be in pity or despair. How were you able to take yourself out of a strong, typical situation?
All right, so first thing was first. I had a conversation with God even before the accident happened. So 2 years prior, I don't even think I've ever said this publicly. I probably said it to like a few of my close friends or close people, or even a stranger, just because I know I didn't have to talk to them again. But in 2015, my car accident happened. And in 2013, I had a conversation with God right after I had a bad argument with a friend. And I was in a bad place, like mentally, financially. My relationship with my family was not the greatest. And I knew that I was, like, that life was difficult. And again, it's preparation. It was preparation, really, that helped me to spring back. I was always active, athletic, I had great, like genetics, but I also like was, working on my physical body a lot. So I had a lot of cushion to make that mistake. And that's why I was able to spring back. And people probably was like, they was mentally just like trying to get into my brain and tell me like, yo, like, do you have money? Like, I'm like, bro, like to give you my injuries, I had an open book pelvis fracture, left femoral fracture, right humerus fracture, my ribs 6 through 10 broke, my diaphragm ruptured, my left lung collapsed, and they took my spleen out. I'm alive. What are you talking about money to me for? And I have my brain.
Like, why? Money is the least thing you should be thinking about.
Money can't buy. Like, if I
don't think anybody's thinking about money when they're trying to heal.
And the thing about it was like the physical part was easy. I got into that accident March, the day after my birthday. Mm-hmm. Within a week of me getting out of a coma, I was standing on my feet, brushing my teeth in the ICU with nobody there.
Wow.
Okay? And I was back in the gym that same year, 2015, September or October. Y'all can fact check that.
I'm about to say, no excuses.
Y'all can fact check that.
Damn, that was quick.
Y'all can fact check that for real. And I was 175 pounds when I got into my accident. And in less than a month, I dropped down to 135. I've dropped 40 pounds. I bounced back because I never stopped my relationship with that which is bigger than me. Mm. So what I was made of, my physical body, that was easy to get back. Because what I was not supposed to lose, what I could not lose, I didn't lose.
Yeah. That spirit,
you
that
dig?
mental, that everything.
So the passion and stuff, like, you can always come back from something traumatic. And my friends died next to me, bro. Like, my people's passed away. Like, and everybody was just trying to, comprehend how could I do it. I get it. You know what I'm saying? Like, respectfully, like, when you see greatness, it's kind of hard to comprehend.
Wait, say that again? Everybody's trying to comprehend?
What I was doing and myself. Like, but when you see greatness, you're trying to figure out how is this real?
What's the recipe?
It's like, this. It's your own mind. What are you telling? What are you telling yourself? When you look in the mirror, even if you're not happy with what you see, are you saying thank you that you even have something to work with? Mm-hmm. Are you even? Do you have any gratitude? Do you have remorse? Do you have the things that keep you planted, that keep you grounded? Because if you don't, you're going to be gone with the wind every time something traumatic comes through. Like, I'm from New York City. You dig what I'm saying? I'm from Brooklyn.
We go through trauma every day.
I go through funky stuff all the time, bro. People bump me all the time. Like, I ride a bike. Okay?
No, you're not even lying. Like, people are trying to beat you up as you clock into the turnstile.
All the time. But you know what I say to myself? Anytime somebody about to piss me off or they bump me or run me the wrong way, I say, you know what? That person is probably having a bad day. Maybe they don't have any. Maybe they can't recognize love. Maybe they haven't seen me. When I open the door, you know what I'm saying? I say bless you to somebody and they don't say thank you or whatever. It's like, that wasn't for them. Mm-hmm. That's for me. That's to make sure that I keep myself on point. I keep the dust off of myself. You dig what I'm saying? I keep the gold shining at all times, because if God just happens to pop up, because God do that just in case y'all ain't know.
He shows you he'll show you.
If God happens to pop up, not as the rich person, but as somebody that is weaker than you, that don't got nothing to offer you, but all they say, anything helps, I would appreciate some love. And you say, man, get up and do something with yourself. That ego, that type of internal conflict that you have, that master that you're serving, will destroy your life when you are weak. And when I was weak, I had angels come to help me because of the person that I am, not the person that I was or who I was supposed to be, the person that I am.
That intention.
Straight up. You know, dig what I'm saying? So the accident was crazy. Like, some of my friends, like my partner, like, I could speak on it now. Mm-hmm. He didn't even live. After one of the friends that was with me, that survived with me, that I knew for over 10 years, he passed away after surviving that accident. And God told me, like, yo, bro, like, you know that you have something to do. And God came through many people, bro, in many ways. And I'm just like, dag, like, at one point I thought this was fake. I didn't believe that it was real, because I'm like, yo, how did I pull that off? Like, I got back in the gym in less than 6 months.
Sometimes you be so amazed with yourself. It'd be like, who are you? I remember you said earlier, like, sometimes when you look at yourself, you got to be like, damn, who's that?
Yeah. Like,
with that being said, I think my last thought for you, I just want to say thank you for even sharing that with us.
You're ready.
And I hope at home somebody's listening to that. And if they're at a situation or something, or a crossroads, that they can use that feedback and that energy just to get themselves up. With that being said, I am definitely in the crossroads of I wouldn't say I'm weak right now. I feel like I'm going through the motions. I feel like God comes in different forms, different people. Like before, I feel like our parents used to tell us, like, you know, the only person watching is God, but they used to say that to us because they didn't want us to get into trouble, or like they was trying to scare us.
Yeah.
I generally feel right now that he's definitely watching. I've tolerated a lot. That makes sense. I've tolerated a lot, and I definitely was with that master. You know, I feel like this year I had a real big ego death.
Mm-hmm.
Like
good. You said that you felt weak though. Like what? Like I would say, ask yourself
why.
What is making you feel weak, and how can you use that? How can you refine it? Do you need to kick it completely out? Because some things, mud is mud, okay? But you can refine metal. You dig? You can get gold if you keep digging. But if you're digging into quicksand and it's pulling you down and you're going down and you know you're going down, be honest with yourself. You dig what I'm saying? Because God will always send that rope so you can pull yourself out of that.
It's really just that transparency. I was trying to fit myself into a box that didn't fit me. And I'm not even going to hold this up because I know we run out of time. But you just inspired me, because exactly what you explained is exactly how I felt. I've been through trauma since I was 7. And I have the ability to love anyone before me. I start everybody off with 100%. So I feel like
gotta love yourself, baby.
I am the love that everybody's looking for.
You gotta love yourself.
I eventually realized that, like, I am the love that I was looking for, and I'm content with that.
Good.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, we'll chop it up another time. So the last thing that we do is I like to call what we call a one-word whip. So just one word to describe, like, how you felt this interview went, like, or maybe, you know, how interaction went. Like, what is one word to describe Brother's Key overall experience here?
Exceptional.
Love it. If this felt good or helped even a little bit, give it a thumbs up. Want more moments like this? Hit subscribe. Take care of you always. Whether you're riding the emotional coaster or just need a moment to vent, this is your space to feel it all. No judgment, just good vibes and good conversations. See you guys next time. Later, friends.